Taylor Swift didn't just change genres. She engineered the most calculated identity revolution in entertainment history. What I'm about to share, it isn't about her music. It's about the psychological blueprint that she used to completely reconstruct her identity and that you can apply to transform any area of your life. Here's what most people miss about Taylor Swift's journey. She didn't just evolve. She systematically dismantled one identity and rebuilt another. And that moment when the identity that created your success quietly starts limiting your growth, that's where most high achievers get stuck. Now, I'm Jody Friedman, and I guide high achievers and seven-figure entrepreneurs who've already won on paper. They feel successful, but they also feel trapped inside the same identity that created that success. I can tell you, after watching thousands of high performers try to reinvent themselves, this wasn't luck or talent that Taylor had. It was strategic identity architecture. Taylor Swift's $400 million mistake taught her this about identity. She realized the country sweetheart persona that made her millions was also the cage slowly killing her creativity. And this is exactly what happens to high achievers who build success around being the reliable one, or the perfectionist, or the person who never says no, because every choice has to fit into that box. Every decision has to match that image. Every opportunity has to reinforce that persona. When Taylor said in a 2014 Rolling Stone interview, she said, "I didn't want to keep making the same album over and over and over again." And that wasn't about music. That was about her identity. She was recognizing that she had outgrown the room that she was living in. The performance room is where successful people go to die creatively. It's a mental and emotional space where your worth depends on maintaining an image that others have created for you. And I see this constantly with high achieving clients who've built incredible businesses, accumulated wealth, and earned respect, but they feel empty inside because they're performing success instead of living it. Taylor recognized what most people never see. The identity that got you here won't get you where you want to go, because the same patterns that create external success can become the patterns that kill internal fulfillment. Taylor Swift didn't just change her sound. She committed identity demolition. And the Reputation era, it wasn't just an album. It was systematic identity demolition, because she didn't gradually change her image. She destroyed it. She embraced being called a snake. She leaned into the villain narrative. She stopped apologizing for her choices, and she used every criticism as fuel to burn down the old Taylor. And this is what real transformation looks like for leaders. You can't renovate your way to a new identity. Sometimes you have to wreck the old one completely, even when that old identity made you millions. The snake emoji became Taylor Swift's liberation symbol, because instead of running from criticism, she turned it into power. And what Taylor understood that most successful people don't is that transformation requires cognitive dissonance, the discomfort of holding two conflicting identities at the same time. Instead of avoiding that discomfort, Taylor used it as energy. Because the moment you stop being afraid of disappointing the people who benefited from your old identity, that's the moment that you actually begin transforming into who you're meant to be. Most people renovate their identity. Taylor Swift demolished hers, and then she rebuilt multiple versions of herself: the pop star, the storyteller, the businesswoman, the activist, each era representing who she was becoming, not who she was supposed to be. Now, this is what I call moving from the performance room to the architect room, where you stop living from someone else's blueprint and start designing your own. Stop optimizing for approval and start building for alignment. Because the psychological principle behind Taylor's success, it's narrative coherence. That's the ability to tell a story about yourself that includes both who you were and who you're becoming. By the way, this is the exact kind of work we're doing at wrecktheroom.com. But anyway, Taylor Swift's master recordings weren't about music. They were about identity ownership. Because when Taylor re-recorded her albums, she wasn't just reclaiming songs. She was reclaiming her narrative from people who thought they could define her. This is what every successful leader needs to understand. You can't let other people's expectations of who you should be determine who you actually become. Because the difference between transformation And performance is simple. Transformation is alignment, not approval. Becoming more of yourself, not becoming what others need you to be. Here's what this means for your transformation. You don't have to choose between honoring your past success and creating future fulfillment, but you do need the courage to recognize when you've outgrown your identity, the strength to wreck what no longer serves you, and the vision to rebuild something that actually fits who you're becoming. Taylor Swift's identity revolution wasn't about becoming someone else. It was about becoming more herself. And that's exactly what high achievers need. Not a better version of who they think they should be, but the authentic version of who they actually are.